Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Qazi. I'm a skin restoration specialist in Newport Beach, California. I focus mostly on acne and scars and pigmentation. I do a lot with collagen stimulation and facial balancing as well. I'll go through this patient. This is a patient that had a traumatic scar to her forehead. It almost looks like a chickenpox scar. It's a really difficult spot right there, right in the middle of her brows, and difficult to remove completely. But we got really, really great improvement over a few months, and it continued to improve. I've been seeing her now for several years, and it still looks amazing and awesome. So I want to showcase this for you because it's a really nice, really amazing result for a patient who was disturbed by the fact that she had something in the center of her face. And she felt that it was really obvious to her especially when she was doing videos. She's somebody who does a lot of videos content, and it was like just something that messed up with her confidence. So what we did for this is a few different steps. Hi, Mrs. Jones. Good seeing you on. We did have to do a few different steps over here. We did some subcision. We did TCA cross. We did ablative CO2 laser here. And we also ended up placing a little bit of Belifil there. And it worked out really, really well for this particular patient. And you can see again, just how flat it is, how smooth it is. And it's one of these things that, like, somebody who had a normal face without any scars, had no acne, just had a unfortunate accident that just reminded her of the accident. And it was difficult to just look at herself every day. That's what she was telling me. She told me the exact same thing. She said it was really tough, and she was sending a lot of photos beforehand just to kind of showcase that this is like something that's just really tough. And she was saying that, like, on video camera, there's no way of hiding that. Mrs. Jones saying you're here changing lives. Appreciate you so much. Tylen saying that, hi, Dr. Qazi. Hope your evening has gone so well so far. Yeah, it's been going awesome. Thank you so much, Tylen. Thank you so much. Good seeing you on too. Hopefully you're doing really well. Hopefully you're feeling better with the world and doing okay. I shouldn't say necessarily the world, but hopefully for yourself, you're doing okay. Because even with anything else going on in the world, like, our own mental health really comes first. And we're taking care of ourselves despite everything else that's happening out there. And, I was remembering this book. It's an interesting book. It's called On Tyranny. It's a really good book, actually. And one of the things it says, it was actually an interesting thing. It was talking about how people should just make sure that they smile more to just people in their community, and grocery stores and like the checkout aisle, things like that, because a lot of people are stressed out. They have a lot of fear, a lot of concerns. And it's really important to make like these community just interactions really meaningful. And it was also just about like really, talking to your neighbors and getting to know your neighbors really well. So in times like this, like, that's something really important, just like kind of knowing everybody on your street, just get to know them, and like just be really friendly with other people around you. And you'll see that it's going to be a lot more manageable then. And you start, doing the things you could control. And one of the things you could do is just like making sure that like the people around feel really comfortable with you. And it's like, no matter what's going on in the world, you at least can do that. Evan is saying that he knows exactly how this particular patient feels. Yeah, this patient, a glass shard went into her forehead, shattered on her forehead, and actually caused this huge gash, and then the scar over here. And she was just really disturbed by it, really, really disturbed, because it was, again, like, she just never had any problems. And then one day it was just like, just there. And it wasn't healing. Like, she did have another gash on on another side of her forehead, and that one healed pretty nicely. But this one was just like, because of the expression area, because it's an area where you could frown and it causes more tension, and the scar got deeper there. So she was worried about it. She thought that was permanent. She thought that there was no hope for it. And it was really cool that we got to a point where she feels super comfortable with it. Let's see, Tylen saying it's been a crazy world around here in the LA area. It's truly heartbreaking, but I hope the situation improves soon. Yeah, I mean, I do too. It's fortunately in our area it's been okay, but I know a lot of people are affected by it. A lot of people, And it's something that I think that we should all just pay attention to. And again, like making those connections with the community is going to be like the key. The key thing to actually like counter everything is small local communities. One of the things is like what we have over here, like small communities of people. We could have like a nice, like trusting and like just a nice, friendly, cordial environment where people just get to know each other a little bit more. And it turns out that's a really, really amazing way to counter fascism. It's a really great way to counter like just like the things out there in the world. And it's what they always really want to try to do is drive wedges with people and drive wedges with communities. And they want these culture wars, but like you realize, hey, your neighbors from a different ethnicity, it doesn't make a difference, and you have a lot in common with them. And start with that. Start with like your streets, and start with like the people at the grocery store. PA Ranger is saying, to fix a scar that like this, how much would it be? I don't know offhand. The cost is probably like $4,000 or so. I would say, because we needed some Belafil in here. It took a couple steps really to get to this. So it probably took a few different things to get there. Let's see here. What is the starting price for subcision and filler usually? Subcision is about $800 for a lot of patients, and filler could be about $900 for Belafil. So that's typically about the price point there. Was the treatment done by laser, and how many sessions did it take? This was done with Subcision, TCA cross, some Belafil, and laser. Laser I did twice on this patient, and I did TCA cross twice as well. And the TCA basically what I did was I wanted to get the scar to contract a bit, so I did it in the inside walls of the scar, so that way the scar came a little bit closer that way, and it worked out really well for her. GT, thank you so much. Doctor, what can I use for old stretch marks? You can use erbium laser. Erbium laser works pretty well for that because there's not too much heat, too much energy, so it works out really, really well for that. GT saying you're him, bro. Appreciate you, GT. Thank you so much. I had one of my patients today. He was saying that he's from Oklahoma City, came in all the way from Oklahoma, and he's an electrician and does concrete. Like just all throughout the year, he's either doing electrical work or he's doing concrete. And it's kind of interesting because I really do find a lot of things that I'm doing just with my hands, like I really do resonate really, really a lot with people who work a lot with their hands too, or just build stuff, whatever it is that they're building. And it's like to me, it's like a really cool thing to be able to look at something and think that you did that. And like, he's like, that's what he says, like he does his job because it's like you do it and you're the one that built that or fixed it or worked on it with your own like physical tools, and like you did it. And to me, it's like a very, very rewarding type of world and work, instead of just like shifting, money around and like trying to charge interest for that or something like that. It's like with your own ability, you could do something. And I don't know, I just resonate a lot with with that kind of story and like people that do that kind of stuff. It's really cool for me. Let's see. Do you recommend Derma Rollers for acne? I don't. I do not recommend anything that rolls for acne. So that's really also with like even like lasers that roll. I don't love like Fraxel laser that rolls or Hill laser that rolls, any of those. Evelyn, how's it going, by the way? Good seeing you on. Thanks again for tagging us in that video, by the way. Thank you so much. But for those who don't know, Evelyn is on here right now, so she comes on every once in a while. But I've been working on her for her melasma, and it's amazing actually now. She had a lot of hyperpigmentation at one point, and it's significantly improved. She had a really severe melasma situation. And also we worked on making her neck really chiseled out. She's open about everything, so that's why I'm saying it. She always tags me, and like years later, I think it's been like maybe 4 or 5 years now, where we worked on your neck, and they were saying how it's still really tight, and it's awesome. I love that. Let's see, Fredo saying freaking acne scars, man. It's true. This is actually not acne though. This patient didn't have any acne her entire life. This does look like an acne scar, or it even looks like a chickenpox scar, but this is actually a traumatic scar. So that's another whole element there, really. I also work on surgical scars, but these traumatic scars really difficult for people because acne is also tough, of course, as we talk about. But traumatic scars, somebody like this patient, she's on camera all the time, and like everything's going well. Like she's like trying to build her brand, get awareness for herself, for what she does, and then this happens, and it's like, ouch. Now what do you do? How do you solve this? So Michelazzo is asking about punch excision. We could have done potentially an elliptical excision right there, but it would have had a little bit too much tension right along that line. So that's why I opted not to do that, and I had to work underneath to undermine the scar tissue. And then also we ended up doing a laser around the edges there. So not a perfect spot for an excision right there. So I was worried that it just wouldn't be the best possible result for her. So instead we opted to do more of this just based on her anatomy when she frowned. And even if we do Botox and kept up with it, I just was worried that there's going to be a little bit too much tension there. So that's why I chose not to do it that way. Super Baked Cookies is saying, hello, I had a mole removed and the scar became dark in color. Do you have any recommendations? Well, the problem with that is that likely requires usually a prescription-based cream like hydroquinone. You could also do a pico laser too, potentially for that. And then sometimes, though, if you want to do something at home, you could try Eucerin's pigmentation cream, but I doubt that's going to help enough for something that's post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation like that. Let's see here. 26 is saying, I lifted my scars with Subcision and now I have to get rid of the discoloration. That's not too hard of a thing now then. If that's the issue, that's just discoloration. That's exactly what I was referring to. Sometimes you have to just do, you could do lasers, you could do peels for discoloration, things that you could do at home, Eucerin's pigmentation cream. You can start there, but yeah, you may need something a little bit stronger. What would you recommend for a mild case of rolling scars? So if there's not much fat loss, then you could just do Subcision by itself. But if there is fat loss still there, and a lot of times there is with rolling scars, then you may have to go in there and actually break it down. Let's see here. If you don't mind me asking, Tylen's saying, if you don't mind me asking, I've been feeling a bit down about my skin. Do you know in my situation, if hitting a more polished look would be possible, or would it be best for me to shift expectations? I would say it would just take a long time, Tylen. It's going to take a lot longer to get to that more polished look. It's already looking really, really good, but the reality is that it takes a lot longer than you may expect. I mean, we're talking a year and a half, 2 years later before it gets to like that. So it's a lot slower process than you may expect. And I think instead of focusing on it at this point, just kind of let's put your mind at ease, just thinking that it's happening, things are going to work out, and just like let it go with that. And just one day, just look back at it and you'll like see that your skin looks great, everything looks fine. And it's like this part of the journey, like, you know, you didn't deserve to go through all of that. You didn't deserve to have acne, didn't deserve to have scars, but it was there. And like, you'll just kind of just not really remember the specifics of it until you come across somebody in your life that has scars, and you think to yourself that, man, you know, like, I know what they're going through. And I know how they suffer. So I kind of just put it like I mean, it's possible you may get like a polished look, but it's going to take a lot longer than you may shoot for or expect. And so instead, just think about it just like slowly. And Mrs. Jones is saying, hang in there, trust the process. And that's exactly right. That's what so many people on here would say too, is just like, trust the process and just go slow with things. Let's see. Fredo is saying, I'm getting microneedling done once a month. And am I wasting money, or is it worth it? I see some progress. Well, if you're seeing progress, then that's awesome. Then go for it. My patient today who came in from Oklahoma, I was talking about, he did microneedling, and he had these raised scars where he said that they went too harsh, and it ended up causing hypertrophic scarring due to the microneedling. So it was really tough for him. Really, poor guy, saved up money to do microneedling sessions over in Oklahoma, and it was making things worse for him. So, it's great that if it's helping out, that's awesome. But if you feel like it's not doing enough, or if it is making things worse, then talk to me and we can take a look to see what's a better option here. Let's see here. Evelyn saying, please share this video with any family or friends with skin problems. Dr. Qazi is the best. Thank you so much, Evelyn. Thank you so much for coming on again. Appreciate you. What do you do for acne? I use Tretinoin, and it's making me have more acne, and it's scarring, ice pick scars. Well, the thing is that Tretinoin will help with oil production, but it takes a while. You typically need an antibiotic, some sort of topical antibiotic, like potentially clindamycin could be a good option. But you may want to also be on something like a sulfur-based wash that could actually help as an antimicrobial too. So Sophia is saying, hi, Dr. Qazi. I had my consultation with you for Accutane yesterday. Would you be able to do Subcision on me while I'm on Accutane? Hi, Sophia. Yes, I could do Subcision while on Accutane. I could do almost everything. It just depends on the dose that a patient's on with Accutane, and we want to make sure that, of course, the acne is under control before doing these procedures. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we could do those. Yesenia is saying, I've done a combination of treatments and I still have scars, but I've never tried subcision. Maybe you don't need it. I don't know. Let's do a consultation. Just go to my page, drqazi.com, and see what we can do. Let's see here. TF is saying, I got sublative laser and TC cross. Do you think it'll make some improvement? May stimulate some collagen. The TC cross will probably help with that, but whether it's going to be enough, it's tough to say without seeing you. I'm not sure what kind of scars you have. It sounds like mostly ice pick or boxcar scars. Let's see here. Como is saying, is subcision the best thing for acne scars? And not necessarily. It may be that you don't need subcision. I don't know if you need subcision or not. It's possible that you don't need subcision, so then it won't be, you don't necessarily need it. Talon's saying, I'm super thankful to be on this journey. I think it's sometimes just tough with the mild yet monthly breakouts. I hope it all gets better in due time. Yeah, those period breakouts could take a while for it to regulate more, and it's tough actually. It's a tough process because, everything else is fine during the rest of the month, and then you do have that breakout there. That's I understand. I've been trying beef tallow, and I've been noticing that it does, I do feel like my skin's better, but every once in a while I've been breaking out a little bit more than usual, and it does actually bring me down too. It's tough actually, and I'm keep doing with it because otherwise I could feel like my skin is getting better, and I'm trying to see if I could kind of mitigate it with a few tricks. But it's interesting. I still feel like there's sometimes like a little bit of a breakout, like it brings people down really easily. And there's some people that just have a lot more, of course, and then during period time there's a lot of women that will just have a lot more, and it's tough then. Let's see here. Talon's saying, it's only on one side of my face now too. My left side of my face has been totally clear for months now. Yeah, the thing with oil is that sometimes it's a little bit delayed. Like one side could get shut down a bit faster than the other side, and you may eventually, we'll take a look to see if we need to adjust anything, and so that we can make it a little bit faster for you. Steph is saying, why are scars some days more visible than other days? Usually it's about oil production. So the more oily your skin is, the wider your scars could appear, the deeper your scars could appear. So that could be the reason why it's more visible there. Misha is saying, is it hard to treat an accident scar? I have it since I was 2 and now I'm 30. This is what this was. This is a traumatic scar. We could definitely treat it. It's definitely better to treat scars early on. But there's absolutely ways that we could improve things no matter what age you're in or how old the scars are. It's possible. Is subcision the best treatment for pitted scars? Probably, yeah. Or excision. Excision could be another one where we literally take out the scar. That could be another option there. Taking out the scar there. Best way to reduce scars, does slugging help or scar cream? Slugging is not something I would recommend for acne-prone skin. It could trap some of your bacteria there. I would not recommend that. But that, for those who don't know, that's basically where people could put like a retinoid and then they put like Vaseline over their skin. I don't think that's going to be a great option. Instead, just you could do Tretinoin and then on top of it put Vanity cream, and then you're really going to be okay. You can moisture that locks in the moisture really nicely. So that's maybe okay, but that's not going to help enough for scars. You're saying about scar cream, not going to help much for scars either. So it wouldn't really be something that I would really be pushing, to be honest with you, for most patients. Tretinoin helps a bit with oil production, which helps with the diameter of the scars. That's true, but this part not so much. What do you mean taking out the scar? Can you elaborate? So yeah, excision basically means that, let's say that this is the scar, let me try it this way. So this is the scar like this. We will literally pull out the scar, and then it rises and it becomes more narrow. So it's an excision. And I probably have a diagram somewhere in one of my documents here, but I'll try to find one though. But we have videos of it. You could look up a video. We have a video on our page. You can see the whole process there where we showcase excisions, and I do a lot of that. How is severity for scars usually rated? If scars, for example, look more mild in typical light but a little scary in bad light, what is the more objective assessment? That's a good question, actually. So Tylen's asking, how do we rate scars? So it depends on the depth. It depends on the width of the scar, of course. But I also take a look and see volume loss. And that's something that's not really categorized in the traditional scar rating processes like the Goodman scale, which I think is really heavily flawed because it's not taking into a picture what looks like scars look like three-dimensionally and or under certain lighting. So yeah, I do want to look into multiple different ways of looking at the light, see how much tethering there is, how stuck it is, see how much volume loss there is. If there's one particular scar that's like really deep and pulled down and stuck. Now that is a more severe scar in that one area. It caused a lot of tissue damage. Now I'm not saying that it's just like you have severe scars everywhere, but that particular scar is more complex and difficult to improve. There's a lot of things that we're going to have to do to improve it. So it's not exactly that like, oh, it has to cover your full face. It has to be like this, like extensive scarring everywhere. Just having a few of those lesions that are very deep and stuck and pulled down could be enough to make it more of a complex case, because now it involves volume replacement. It can involve things more with subcision. It can involve things more with lasers. So there's a little bit more that's involved with it there. Giannis is asking, will splitting suture ever fully heal? Mine was taken out over 6 months ago and it still looks raised. You may need to do a laser to smooth it down a bit, steroid shot too, potentially. All those could be options there to help flatten it a bit. Is this covered by insurance? Unfortunately, it's not covered by insurance. Unfortunately, it's not in this country, at least in the United States, it's not covered by insurance. Deep scars on the side of the nose, how do you fade it away? Those are tough, actually, really tough. It depends on what they are. Is it from a rhinoplasty? If it's a rhinoplasty, it could be a little bit easier than sometimes these deep ice pick scars. That's just saying, just got on what procedures were done for this scar. This was a few things. We did a subcision. We went underneath the scar tissue, broke up the scar. We did laser around the edges there. We did TC across to narrow the width of the scar. And we also then ended up placing a little bit of Belafil over here. So did that actually to improve the scar tissue over here. Does microneedling help a scar go away? If it's really superficial, pretty flat, then it could help a bit, but not much more than that. Bentley Blake is saying blood vessel scars like red spot under the skin or red spot on the forehead. Well, red spot may be like a cherry angioma, or if it's actually due to like an inflammation, it's post-inflammatory erythema, PIE, and you usually need a laser like XLV or V-beam. Let's see here. Tylen's saying, I remember during my diagnosis, you said a lot of my scars are rolling. What do you think makes you decide between subcision versus not in cases like mine? Sometimes if it's just like an isolated, if it's an isolated rolling scar, or if it's like a few isolated rolling scars, we could get away without doing subcision because it's potentially not as stuck or tethered down. Just going underneath there with a cannula or doing anything like to manipulate that tissue with with filler could be enough. But if it's really like extensive rolling scars together, cluster around, really pulled down and stuck, then we do want to actually break up that scar tissue really with subcision. So it depends on the location of the scars. If it's relatively like clustered around there, how deep the scars are. Those are things I'm looking at to see if we need to do subcision or not. And that's why it's like I don't always recommend doing subcision for everybody, because it's an invasive procedure. It's like it's only if it's like we have to do it, then we'll do it. Let's see. I came back, or Bentley saying that the blood vessel came back after 2 laser sessions. And that's tough. I'm not sure why it came back, because sometimes it like should get absorbed after a couple sessions, but it could need more sessions. I'm not sure. It doesn't get fully absorbed by your body. What happens is that it's essentially what the laser is doing. It's helping your body reabsorb it. And sometimes it gets reabsorbed completely. Sometimes it doesn't get completely reabsorbed. And that's maybe what you're noticing. Lorena is saying, I got a hot oil burn, ouch, on my thigh 5 years ago about the size of an orange. Is there a procedure? Yes, there absolutely is. I mean, laser is a really great option there. And if there's hyperpigmentation, lasers will help with that as well. If there's texture issue, a different form of laser will help. So let's talk about that. That's definitely something that we could help with. Burn scars, especially something with oil, that's going to be a painful process. So we absolutely can help with that. Let's see here. Ganesh is saying, Doctor, I'm taking scar treatments till now. I can see 30% improvement, but sometimes they look deep and sometimes normal. I don't know why. Please explain. Well, it's again partially because of oil production. That's one reason why it sort of ebbs and flows. Other issue is that it may be relatively early and your collagen is still developing, and it sort of just looks like it's just sort of like fluctuating a bit because of that. It hasn't really fully gotten the scaffold to form yet. And in time, it should get better, but that's why you do want to do some other treatments and potentially more of like volume replacement. Let's see, Tylen saying, if I've gotten more scars from recent breakouts, do you think it'll be easier to resolve due to them being relatively young scars? Yes. A lot of times it's a lot faster and easier for us to get a collagen response then. What's the process of subcision? How bad does it hurt? Do they use numbing creams or anything? It's not bad, actually. It's really not bad. We put so much numbing in there. It's not a cream. The cream's not going to help enough. We want to just completely block the nerves. We want to get so that there's so much numbing solution inside. That's what we do. We pump it full of numbing solution, and then we break up that scar tissue in there. So that's what we do. Let's see. You're trying to budget. How many sessions does full removal usually take? I don't know. It depends on your type of scars. It's typically about 2 laser sessions for a lot of scars, but there could be more complex cases where it could take 3 or 4. But like this case, for example, took 2 sessions there. So it's usually 2 is a good number for a lot of people. If you want to get, again, that more polished look, it could take more sessions too for that than of like lower heat, lower energy lasers. How to treat sebaceous hyperplasia? You got to control the oil production. So you could do topical retinoids, is fine, but also you could try to do low dose Accutane, or the cure laser could help as well. If it's really just like stubborn bumps that are on there, you may have to do like what's called electrocautery to burn it down, or what I do a lot of times with which is a CO2 laser to smooth it down. What's the difference between treating skin at 21 versus 30? Well, 21-year-olds, the skin just bounces like really quickly. And it's just like you do it and it feels nice, soft, and firm like 3 months out. It's really cool. 30 is still pretty young, to be honest with you. It's pretty young. Yeah, to my age, and now it's like a little bit slower. It still gets there. It's just slower. This took a long time for my collagen to develop, I feel like. I thought I had pretty good collagen until I was like, man, I really am getting old now, because it's like it does take a while sometimes, and it's like, but it still got there. Like it ultimately still did it. It's just slower than you may expect, and it's like everybody's different. There's a lot of different factors involved in it, but 21-year-olds, you do it and it's like, wow, okay, it's like you got fast. But then there's 21-year-olds who smoke or vape, and now it's not going to be fast for them. Like they're smoking. And it's definitely not going to be fast if you're a smoker. Somebody who doesn't eat well, and somebody who's got a lot of active lesions or still gets breakouts afterwards. And the breakouts by itself are probably going to be okay. So a lot of it's the oil production that's a really big problem too. And so it's like that stuff is really out of control. And it may be tough to get that fuller collagen response. It still may get there, but it'll go slow. There are too many products out there. Yeah, that's why I don't sell a lot of these. I don't sell those things. I just want to focus on things that work. Things that work really easily for patients is tretinoin, some sort of retinoid. You could do a dapoline over the counter is totally fine. And then you can use a moisturizer like Vanity Cream and a sunblock. And that's like all you vast majority of people need. And start with that, and it's going to work out really, really well. Can this be done on people 35 or plus? Yes, absolutely. I do it for all age groups. That's really young still. So yeah, we absolutely can do it. But really, I've had 70-year-old in the patients in their 70s, in their 80s. Recently I saw him. He's in his 80s. He's a big time golfer, out in the sun all the time. Was like, I'm never gonna wear sunblock. And then I was like, we just aren't going to clear this out until you wear sunblock. And then I made him do it for several months before he saw me, and he did it. And now he's got perfect, amazing skin now, and it's been staying perfect. It's been awesome, and he gets to keep it. That's like his skin forever, which is pretty cool, right? How many subcisions can be done on a scar? I mean, you should just do it in one time, and maybe twice if you need to, but once is good for the vast majority of people. Do you know if the fall season, Thailand's saying, do you know if the fall season will be busy scheduling wise? It's going to be very, very busy fall season. It's almost completely booked already in the fall. I'm assuming after my July follow-up, it might be a couple months after to get in for another session, hoping to keep visits for this journey. Yeah, I would just book it right now. We're trying to, the team knows to prioritize our current patients, but it's just, it may already be getting full for that though too. So definitely try to do it. The fall is our busiest time. Summertime is really busy with patients who are I see a lot of my patients who are from college. It's actually really cool. I get to see people from when they're graduating from high school, then they're in college, and now they're graduating college, going into master's programs or some other program, medicine. And so I see the full journey. I see them once a year in the summertime, and I see what they're up to. And it's kind of cool actually. Are you okay with patients getting PRP with poly-nucleotides and microneedling with growth factors post-combination acne scar treatment in the month post-treatment for healing? I don't want you to do microneedling really, so I would not want you to do microneedling. But if you want to do some other way of doing it, if you want to inject poly-nucleotides in your skin, salmon DNA, whatever else you want to do, that's probably fine. But I don't want to do microneedling. Let's see here. Yeah, Thailand. So try to book out. So Thailand's saying that she wants to book out her treatments, and fall time is going to be very busy. So I'm trying to put preference for our current patients to just book them ahead of time, and then we could be able to lock that up for you. How can you come to see me? You could do it just through my page at Dr. Qazi, and I'm wrapping up for tonight for this week. So give me a follow, please, and hopefully you guys could share the page too. That'd be really helpful. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate all the great questions. And Jean says a really terrible thing that she got assaulted and has a dent like this. I will help you out with that, Jean. Just message us through drqazi.com. Set up a consultation. We'll be happy to help you out with that, though. Actually, a lot of these traumatic scars really tough for people. There's trauma that occurred, the violence that occurs with these things, and then a lot of people remember it because they see those scars, and it's really tough for them. And